I'm Mr. T. This is a film freestyle lesson. Now that we got Premiere all set up, it's time to bring in some footage, start editing. Now there are 3 ways that you can import footage into Premiere.
First way that we can do this is by going up here to File, Import, and we can navigate to what media we want to import. So for example, I can come over here and I can choose a bunch of stuff here and I can press the import button. Another way that we could import footage is simply by going to our Explorer or our Finder window, and we can just, by dragging stuff directly right here into Premiere. The third way that we can import footage into our project is by going over here to the media browser. You can navigate here to your location, and then you can choose exactly what it is you want to import, and then you can import these by highlighting them and right-clicking and saying import.
Now all the media you import is going to show up here in your project bin. You can import all kinds of stuff into Premiere. Video footage, music, sound effects, audio recordings, photos. I made it sound like there was a lot of things. That's basically all you can import.
If you have a lot of stuff here, you can see little thumbnails here by clicking this icon view. You can choose how big or how small you want those to be. You can also just list them in list view. I personally like list view a lot because it gives me further information about the different types of media that I have here.
Now that we've imported some media into our bin, we're ready to begin editing it on our timeline. But before we can do so, we need to create a sequence. A sequence is the part of our project that contains all of the edits to our footage and what's ultimately going to become our finished product. Over here in our timeline, you'll notice the Premiere's trying to help you out with this little message that says, drop media here to create sequence. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's a bad idea. The reason why you don't want to do this is because whatever piece of media you drag in first is what Premiere will use to set your sequence settings to match. So if you bring in an image, Premiere is going to set its sequence to match the size, resolution, and aspect ratio of that image. So whatever video or content you bring in after that is going to have to fit within that same resolution, size, or aspect ratio. You don't want that.
So what I'm going to do is show you how it's done the right way. I'm not going to drag and drop to create a sequence. I am going to create a new sequence by going to File, New Sequence. There's also a shortcut.
There are a lot of sequence settings presets and a lot of camera types. Most of us in Freestyle are shooting on a digital SLR or a DSLR, but it's up to you to know what resolution size and what frame rate you use to shoot your video.
I've been shooting on 1080p, for example. Here I'm going to choose my frame rate. Am I shooting at 24 frames per second? Am I shooting at 25 frames per second? Hint, you're not. And I'm going to, or am I shooting at 30 frames per second?
The nice thing about Premiere is that it's going to give you full control. It expects you to know what you want. It's not going to make the decisions for you.
For this particular video, I can see my frame rates right here. And I've shot, looks like I have mixed frame rates. That's a bad thing. But I'm going to go ahead and choose 24 for 23.976 frames per second.
Once you've selected your preset for your sequence settings, make sure to give your sequence a name. Give it a name that's descriptive so that you remember what it is you're working on and you can easily find the sequence again if you need to look for it in your project bin.
And I'm going to say OK. And now, if I bring in a video, you will see that the video will fit the way that it's supposed to. Now it's the right size. And now if I bring in my image, the image is now going to be within the constraints of this particular window that I've created. So now I can decide where I want that image to be and how I want it to fit in my video window here in my program monitor.
There are a couple of editing styles that you can use when editing video and clipping clips together in Premiere. The first way of editing is to edit primarily in your source monitor.
Double-click here from your bin, and it's going to open up here in your source monitor. And there's my video here in my source monitor. Now what I can do is I can set ins and outs here by pressing this button. You can also press the letter I, and I'll set an out here. And you can hit this button. You can also press the letter O on your keyboard. And now I can drag this in to my timeline, and that is just taking this highlighted section of video here into my timeline. I can also, if I so choose, just drag the video or just drag the audio by using this hand here and just selecting the little cinema frame here or the little audio waveform here and dragging that in, and you'll see it just drags in the audio. This is an audio track, this is a video track.
Another popular way of editing is to edit directly on the timeline. You can drag in full video clips right there to your sequence and do most of your cutting and editing there.
To do that, you can use this set of tools. Here, for example, is the razor tool, and you can cut your video wherever you want, and then go back to the selection tool, and you can kind of move some stuff around and decide how you want it to be. You can also drag the end of a video and trim it just by dragging it in or out. And that is a good way to edit video as well.
Remember, Premiere is a non-linear editing system. That means you don't have to edit in order, and it's non-destructive. If you decide you don't like an edit or a cut, you can always change it later. There's no right or wrong way to edit. You can edit up here in the source monitor or over here in the timeline. It's up to you. You should choose the method that you're most comfortable with and what makes the most sense to you, your project, your team, and your workflow. And that's the basics of editing in Premiere.